This video is an added portion to the beginning HTML videos, but in this video we're going to look at IDEs, CSS, and the box model using CSS. Now, previously in the beginning videos, we did everything in Notepad because it's really good to do it in Notepad, so you can kind of see that really we're just dealing with text and dealing with a file. But when you're creating more complex applications or complex websites, you're probably going to be using an IDE. That's an integrated development environment. Now, there's thousands of IDEs out there. These environments and applications in which you can create programs or create HTML, websites, so on and so forth. The list goes on. These IDEs make it a little bit easier for you to pull up code, to format your text, and to actually write and keep track of all the folders and files, or the files and folders related to your website or related to your project. So we want to go ahead and jump into an IDE that we're probably going to be comfortable using in the future for some other project, not just this one. So the IDE that I chose to use is an IDE called Brackets. So what you're going to want to do is go to brackets.io. I have it pulled up here. And right away you'll see you can download this. It's free, it's open source, and it's a really nice IDE to be able to start seeing what our code is doing and seeing how the code is going to work. So you see the different colors that we have here. It really helps you format it, and it allows you to go in more in depth into your coding without worrying about being able to spot something that's actually not even color corrected, or trying to worry about memorizing all the CSS code, because it kind of helps you with that sort of stuff. Not completely, but mostly it does. For any information you need on Brackets, you can go to the website. It has the API docs and the blog and extensions and support, and you are able to contribute to this. If you get really good at this and you learn the code, you can actually contribute to the Brackets project. So what you're going to do is you're going to download this and you're going to install it for your operating system. So they have it for Mac and they have it for Windows. The other one that you can actually look at is something called Notepad++. Now this is an interesting one because, again, it's free. I also use this one. It's free. It does color coding. It does a lot of things that the Brackets does. It just doesn't look as good. Pretty much every coding language, programming language you can use can be imported into or added on into Notepad. So Notepad is something you want to look at. Again, these are free, so you don't have to worry about anything. The one we're going to be using is Brackets. So what I want you to do is go ahead and download Brackets, and then let's move on from there. So I already have Brackets installed, so I'm just going to go ahead and type Brackets here. I'm going to open it up, and what I want to do is have this file here on the side just so you can see it's exactly the same thing. Now when you open up Brackets, you're probably going to see this getting started thing here. You can remove that, so you can hit the X next to it, or just go to File and New here, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Since I have a new project here, I'm just going to go File, New here. So I have these side by side so you can see the difference here. If I were to come here and I were to start typing some HTML, you can see while I'm typing this, there is nothing really helping me out to type this. I'm just kind of doing this from scratch, doing it from memory. And when something is small like what I'm doing right now, it's not an issue. But when a website gets more complicated, a lot of times you're going to need help with that sort of thing. You don't want to have to think about memorizing code unless it just comes naturally to you. So I'm typing this and I'm getting no help from Notepad, because Notepad doesn't even know what I'm doing. It's not supposed to be able to help me. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing inside of Brackets here. So I'm going to start here in this part. You may not see a difference yet, but I want to show you something here. After I did that, you'll notice it's still not really helping me out. Watch, even if I type something else, it's still not going to help me out. You say, well, what's the difference between this and the regular Notepad. Well, the reason why brackets is not helping me out right now, because I didn't save this file as anything. I have to tell it what I'm using, what coding, what scripting language I'm using. So when you first open this up and you start typing, it's the exact same thing as Notepad. But if I were to go here and I were to go File, and I'm going to go Save. And now I'm going to find a spot to save this in. I'm just going to put it to my desktop, and I'm going to put it as index. And instead of all files, I can do web files like this. And then I'm going to hit save. Now you'll notice a difference. You'll notice that the HTML has turned blue. This right here actually looks, it's not grayed out all of a sudden. Now if I start doing it, you'll notice how all of a sudden it gave me that end tag. I didn't even have to completely type it. And you'll notice it has this open and closing tag. So anything between this HTML and this closing HTML, I can collapse. That's the same thing when it comes to divs. And if you notice another thing, when I put my mouse anywhere inside of this HTML tag, it indents. It automatically indents. So if I start typing head, watch, I'm going to type H-E-A, it automatically gives me the word. And I'm just going to hit, after I hit A, D, and look at that. It automatically closes for me after I hit enter. So I get all of these things that makes my life a lot easier when it comes to typing HTML or any other scripting language. And it's going to give me the closing tag right away. So after you have this installed and after you get a little bit familiar with it, you know, it's a good idea to go over some old projects or something like that with this. We'll go ahead and move on to the CSS and the box model. So I'll see you guys in the next video.